Hey everybody, welcome back to the OTH vlog and happy Friday to all of you. For this Feel Good Friday, I've got a pretty fun topic, and that's the kiteboarding on the mind. Give you a bit of an introduction to this. Just last summer, we were at AWSI. It's a big trade show they put on in Hood River every year in August. And after the trade show was done, I'd finished up helping at the event. We were all hanging out on the grass, sharing some beers, watching the kiters go by at the event site. And met a couple people. We were all discussing different things with kiteboarding and how it made us feel and why we do it. And one of them brought up a book called Stealing Fire. And this book talked about kiteboarding and kind of what made us get out there and why we do this for, what brings us to the water. And during this time of quarantine, I had a chance to catch up on my reading, and Stealing Fire was the book that I was able to catch up on. Stealing Fire is a book by Stephen Kotler and Jamie Wheal. I highly recommend everyone pick this up. And basically, the book talks about the flow state or ecstasis. And that is just a higher sense of self that we feel during different parts of our life through many different things, either through extreme sports. They talk about religion, they talk about meditation, they talk about even psychedelic drug use, they talk about all these things that can get us to a higher self of being and understanding. And they talk about ecstasis through 4 different factors: selflessness, timelessness, effortless, and richness. And after reading the book, and they bring up kiteboarding a couple times, I've really was applying that to how I feel when I'm on the water. And I think it really does help myself better understand why I'm out there doing this and other parts of my life, but kind of give you a brief little overview of the book. But I highly recommend picking this up and reading it. But let's talk about these 4 factors. First, let's talk about selflessness. And in the book, they talk about selflessness is the shutting off of the inner critic. They call it transient hypofrontality, or the shutting down of the prefrontal cortex. And basically that allows you to live in this moment where you're not nagging on yourself. You're not thinking, why can't I do this? Why is this happening? You're too fat, you're too slow, you're too this, and that constant bug in your head that is making you second guess yourself and all that. In kiteboarding, we kind of can step outside of ourselves for a second. You kind of start seeing the bigger picture of everything while you're participating in it, while you're learning it. Even on the days when you just go out, you can find yourself, I've even heard people say this, you lose yourself for a moment, where you're just kind of being. You are greater than what you are on the water. You have this feeling of being with the ocean, with being with the wind. And this selflessness is something that it's a very powerful feeling inside of us. It makes us feel a grander connection and a bigger than who we are, pulling ourselves outside of ourselves. So that's one part that I think that kiteboarding definitely keeps us coming back, is that feeling of that. Going into the next part would be timeless. Now, kiteboarding is definitely a sport where you have to be mentally focused on what you're doing. Even when you get decent enough to kind of start tuning out, you are still very much in the moment. And the timelessness is being in the now. When we hit the water, things that happened beforehand seem to melt away, and we seemed too preoccupied in the moment to think about what's happening after the water. We don't even really want to think about that. We want to think about now. What's feeling good to us at that moment. And you kind of feel like everything slows down out there. You're so in the moment when you're just getting started. You're focused up on the kite and you're thinking of the now. How am I going to get this thing going in this exact moment? Or for us who are more experienced kiters, when you're jumping or when you're riding a wave or on your foil doing your tacks, in that moment, time seems to slow down and you're able to focus on every millisecond of what's happening at that moment. You're not anywhere else in your mind. And that feeling as well is something that it just gives you this capsule of time that's yours. You aren't cluttered with anything else. So that's another fun part that kiteboarding definitely creates that timeless feeling. And then the next one is effortless. So effortless, for some of you just getting into kiting might hear that word and think, oh, like, effortless, it's just still like a lot of effort for me. Well, trust me, there's a point in time when it does become effortless, but not just effortless in how you're doing the sport, but effortless in getting you out to do the sport. There's nothing, you're not putting any effort in to go kiteboarding. You want to go kiteboarding. You're not setting any type of reminder to go, hey, got a kiteboard today. No, you want to go kiteboarding. It is an effortless feeling to get to the water because of the rewards you feel from being on the water. All of the neurochemicals that are released while we're kiteboarding, like dopamine, serotonin, and stuff like that are flooding our minds, feels good. We love that feeling. It feels good to us, and it gives this sense of reward from being in the water. That's why you're smiling when you get off the water. You can't help but feel good after kiting, especially when you're learning, especially when you have a great session. I walked off the water the other day from a 30-minute session. That was it. I caught the wind perfectly in a little downwinder down here in Huntington, and I could not stop smiling. It just brought every bit, and you feel this kind of melting away sensation, and you feel a little bit more warm and fuzzy, kind of colors seem brighter, your eyes start to dilate, those chemicals are starting to react, and you feel this great sense of reward from being on the water. And that kind of goes into the next part of this rich feeling, richness of kiteboarding. While you're out there, you can kind of have these moments of epiphany on the water. And it might be with kiteboarding, it might be with something else. You just have this moment to tap into the unconsciousness, what they talk about in the book with the richness. In this greater state of mind, the unconscious mind seems to be, you can tap into it a little bit, and you can take away a more rich and better understanding of what you just did, of that kiteboarding moment. And the other factors kind of can help you understand parts of the sport, understand parts of your life, that when you come off the water, you can kind of sit there and look back, and you might have a moment you figured something out for a problem at work, for something in your personal life, for kiteboarding in general, and that is what keeps us coming back. Those 4 factors are what make kiteboarding such an addiction, but a positive addiction. So much so that kiteboarding is used in very high levels of very large companies. Sergey Brin from Google, and even Richard Branson, as all of you may know, he is a huge kiteboarder. But they also use kiteboarding for their employees, and using different summits. Susie Mai is a part of a company, Mai Tai, and it basically is a summit for entrepreneurs to come together. And instead of being in these, big conference centers and some hotel in the middle of the United States, no, they go to Necker Island and do kiteboarding and surfing, and bring people together through the community of that and learning it or riding, and it envelops a better bond between individuals, and kind of creates this moment of flow between people to create these new endeavors or new companies. And that's what makes kiteboarding amazing. It is a very analytical, very rewarding, and just a super fun thing to do. So that is the Fun Friday. I, again, highly encourage everyone to check out Stealing Fire. It is an incredible read. It's a very easy read. And even without kiteboarding, the other topics they discuss and the moments of ecstasis and how they tap into it, but being able to open up your mind and take in those moments and understand what makes you feel so good is pretty cool. So for all of you who are already kiters, for you getting into the sport, you'll think of this video, think of that moment of flow state of ecstasis, and you'll be pretty amazed that you'll feel, again, that selfless, timeless, effortless, and richness in the moment. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the vlog today. I really enjoyed putting this one together. It is a fun topic, and have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for coming by, and I will see you all on Monday. Happy kiting, everyone.
Hey everybody, Chip Ripperson here. If you like that video, be sure to subscribe to our channel. That way you'll be notified every time we post new videos like this one. And if you want to see more videos that are already on the channel, be sure to click right here for more of our pro rider interviews, gear reviews, and more vlog posts. Happy kiting, everybody. Ew!